today's Board of County Commissioners meeting. Good morning, everyone. Glad to see you here today. Let's call to order the Jeffco Board of County Commissioners meeting for February 11th, 2025. I'm Jeffco Commissioner Leslie Dahlkemper here with Commissioners Zenzinger and Kerr. Our clerk this morning is Elaine Blomquist, and our host is Anna Zendejas, who will handle requests for public comment and public testimony in the chat for those of you who are joining us virtually. There are several ways to join our hybrid meeting, all of which are listed on our website at jeffco.us. You're always welcome to reach out to the board through our website at jeffco.us, or you can email us at commish@jeffco.us. We'd also like to ask everyone, I'm going to do the same, to silence your phones, please, and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Next on our agenda is public comment, and we reserve 15 minutes at the beginning of our meeting. We'll have a second round of public comment at the end of our meeting as well. And the public comment is reserved specifically for issues that are not listed on our agenda. We'll begin with those who have signed up for public comment, and we have 3 individuals who are here with us on Tuesday to present to the board. We'll also ask if anyone else would like to address the board. We'll also check to see if there's anyone online as well. Let's begin first with Tiffany Hicks. Ms. Hicks, if you'd please come forward for public comment. The topic is 1990 license agreement. You'll have 3 minutes, and if you'd like to share your address.
Sure. Good morning, Tiffany Seychelle Hicks, 27901 Pine Drive, Evergreen. The county and the Board of Adjustment made a terrible mistake in 1990, allowing Linn-Meyer's fence and the license agreement. You were given false and omitted relevant information in making a decision at that time, and a lot has changed in this neighborhood in 35 years with massive population and traffic growth. The Board of Adjustment proposal of June 6, 1990, which you have in front of you, it shows a hand sketch proposal by Linn-Meyer with their property bounds, with the proposed easement for this license agreement and their fence to go across not only the 1955 easement, but at least it was actually within their property bounds. But it was never supposed to be across the 50-foot right-of-way Pine Drive. The board asked for a proper survey. So July 10th, 1990, they come back with a proper survey for their license agreement, and that survey completely omits the 1955 county deeded Highland Hills 16-foot right-of-way that serves access to 5 properties. The county cannot give away deeded right-of-ways and multiple property owners' deeds. On April 1st, 2024, we met with Planning and Zoning and saw that the 1990 license agreement was still pending. You can see a screenshot from that meeting. No county follow-up on permits, location, etc. was ever completed. The county has since closed out this pending item. And most importantly, a lot has changed. Public safety is at tremendous jeopardy. You have multiple pictures showing the topography and that it is reduced to a single lane road. 50 feet that was originally supposed to be Pine Drive is no more than 17.5 feet from pavement to pavement. You can see that there have been multiple spinouts. I caught an accident of a neighbor who spun out into the top of our property. That was just one of many that I have witnessed. Only one car can pass at a time. It's a blind approach from one side. There's no shoulder for pedestrians to get out of the way. Furthermore, the Linn-Meyer has put multiple T-post and his mailbox a further 2 to 6 feet past his fence in the license agreement into the Pine Drive's 50-foot right-of-way. Only 17.5 feet on a major road. That is what we're given in our neighborhood because one person was given special privilege by the county. To do all these public safety issues warrant the Linn-Meyers' claimed hardship to the Board of Adjustment that a few headlights were coming into their windows to be able to take public land? The answer is no, that is not a hardship. Get blinds, build a hedge. So we are asking you, it is not too late, just correct your mistake. You were given false information, you were given omitted information, and a lot has changed in this neighborhood. Not to mention the county is at no risk. In Clause 3, it states that this license agreement is temporary temporary and that it can terminate upon any reason at any time from notification with the county at the owner's expense to remove. Furthermore, clause 4 and 5 indemnifies the county and releases you from all liability. I'm just asking you, please take care of this. Planning and zoning can also use your help where it will rectify multiple issues in the stipulation that they're still trying to negotiate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks, for being here. Next, we have Rebecca Hicks. Please come forward and welcome.
Good morning, Rebecca Hicks, 27901 Pine Drive. I am asking every one of you to put yourself in our shoes and look at the situation from our position. It has been over 17 months, and now Lindmeyer and Alexander have been given more time with no timeline given by Jeremy Cohen to apply for variances and permits and make some modification. Other items in the original complaint and violations evidently were ignored or not even addressed. The biggest issue is the license agreement that never should have been approved and implemented under erroneous and omitted facts. It needs to be revoked. We are still waiting. Since 1994, Lindmeyer has worked for Jefferson County, operating their toxic weed killing business from their home, along with storing their contaminated equipment and hazardous chemicals. They claim they have removed their equipment and chemicals from one or all of their 5 storage sheds on their property. But does the county verify if this is true with any on-site inspections? Our frustration with this entire process has left us believing that we have been stonewalled for some other nefarious reasons. Again, put yourself in our position. On Lindmeyer's Vegetation Management, Inc. website, they brag about their long-term contractual relationship with Jeffco dating back to 1994. Last year, he worked 14 days and billed the county $82,398. That is $5,885.52 per day for spraying weeds from his golf cart. That is even more per day than the Los Angeles wildfires are under scrutiny, who charged $500,000 for 90 days of work. 14 days, $82,398. I ask you to look closely at his dates worked and the billing invoice numbers and his close relationships with his Jeffco employee contacts. The county should seriously look into doing this job in-house. Please help us. Again, last Friday, Linda Meyer stood on our property and directed obscene gestures at my daughter. She called the sheriff's department and was told there was nothing that they could do. It was a First Amendment freedom of speech right, and they didn't want to put their deputies in danger. Again, put yourself in our shoes. Please help us resolve this. This has gone on way too long. It needs to be escalated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks, for your comments. Next, we have George Yance on the topic of fire mitigation. And if you'd share with us your address, you've got 3 minutes.
Good morning. George Yantz, last name spelled Y-A-N-T-Z, address 2297 Weiler Road in Evergreen. I spoke before this body last week regarding fire mitigation, and I gave pretty good detail as to how much physical effort, my wife and I have put in to mitigate our property, as well as spending over $20,000 to do so. I also spoke with Chief Weger, Fire Chief Weger, and Fire Chief Puffett. Both fire chiefs checked into this issue and reported back that this was basically a funding issue. That is, funds were lacking at the end of the year to simply keep the Tin Cup area open for 4 additional weekends. Not weeks, just weekends. However, since Jefferson County actually had 2 forest fires this past summer, there were plenty of available funds to enlist the aid of ground resources and airplane drops of retardant and water. How much did that cost? Wouldn't it be more efficacious to spend pennies to provide homeowners with a place to get rid of fuel to help prevent wildfires before they start, instead of having to spend hundreds of thousands or perhaps even millions of dollars fighting what could have been easily prevented? Keep in mind Marshall Fire and what happened in Palisade in California. So while I can personally spend untold hours in physical efforts hardening my property, along with thousands of collocated dollars, the county was reluctant to keep the Needle Depository open for 4 additional weekends. Such a lack of action is opprobrious. I have since been assured by the fire department that efforts have been agreed to in having the deposit areas calendars amended for this coming fall. I would like to hear directly from the commissioners that you will, in fact, effectuate the necessary changes to allocate the funds for this coming year to simply keep the Tin Cup area open an additional 4 weekends for the purpose of accepting pine needles from homeowners. I spoke last weekend and I just needed that extra minute to finish, but my time had run out, the 3 minutes. So I'd like to hear from the commissioners. I asked once. Well, let me backtrack. Last week, when I was cut off, I left my statements on the side over here with the public affairs person. And I said that I'd be waiting for an answer from the commissioners. As of today, I have not received an answer. I left my email and a phone number that I could be reached at, and I received no response. So let me address Mrs. Dalkheimer. Will I receive an answer to my request to keep Tin Cup open this coming fall for 4 weekends, as the fire department has assured me that they will?
Mr. Yance, I am happy to have a conversation with you after our hearing if you're able to stay for a few more minutes. Our hearing is fairly brief. We typically don't engage in back and forth during public comment because it's your opportunity to raise concerns or issues that you have with the board. I have a couple of thoughts to share with you. I am disappointed to hear that you have not heard a response, because let me stop there and we'll circle up after the meeting.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
everyone listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Next, we have, let me just check, is there anyone else in the hearing room who would like to address the board? Come on forward. And then Ms. Zendejas, I understand we have one community member who has joined us virtually. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board in addition to Mr. Farbman?
No one besides.
Okay, great. Please go ahead and share your name and your address.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joan Poston, and I live at 10642 West Vassar Place. And it would be nice if somebody would look me in the eye while I'm doing this. Thank you. I am reading a statement that I put into the Lakewood City Council yesterday, and here it goes. The federal land. So last week on the 4th, I was not here. The reason I was not here was I had received a phone call from the National Archives in Washington, D.C. They were calling me about a case with a FOIA that I had been working on for 2.5 years over the land at 4th and Federal. They said to me, I would like to talk to you about this case. And I said at the time, there's another governing entity that is interested in this case. And thank you for your interest, but I can't say much. And 1 week later, so then that same day, there was a meeting, emergency meeting, called by Colleen Shogun, who was the director of the National Archives. And she called this emergency meeting to ensure all the employees at that federal level that she was still in charge, and that Marco Rubio wasn't looking into this situation. And then on Friday, the 7th, late night, after hours, President Trump fired Colin Shogun, who was the director of the National Archives. So I do believe that there has been some movement about what's going on. And what this FOIA was addressing was the contamination in this land. On Sunday, I believe it was Sunday, the Denver Post put out an article, I guess it was Monday, about how they were wanting to take this federal land, remove all the federal workers, and turn it into development. I seriously think that this is not the right thing to do. I seriously think this federal center needs to stay and be supported. And I seriously think it would take millions of dollars to bring this land up to code. And I will be addressing that with the EPA. The only other thing I'd like to say at this time is that I'm sorry I missed the fire mitigation situation, and that I saw Commissioner Dull Camper at the Aurora Connections meeting, and she made an announcement about how $103 million of grant money had been frozen by the feds here in Jefferson County, and 120 million goes through the Jefferson County, had been frozen again. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Ms. Poston. We'll correct one of those comments when we get to comments from the Board of County Commissioners as well. All right, next up, we'll go to our folks who are joining us virtually. Mr. Farbman, I understand you'd like to address the board. Please go ahead.
I'll assume that's a yes.
Now we can hear you. Please
Okay.
go ahead and
Great.
share your name with us one more
Sure.
time and your
Thank-
address for the record.
Yep, my name is Jason Farbman. My address is 9733 Kipling Street, Westminster, Colorado 80021. And I'd like to talk about the Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport fuel transition and voluntary noise abatement plan. All right, so I guess I just want to start out with that. As the county commissioners, I hope you guys know that like the sponsors of the airport are you, and you guys are responsible for maintaining the balance between the community and the airport. If we let RMMA staff make every decision that goes on at the airport, it's always going to be biased in favor of the airport. It's not ever going to have real input from the community. So I hope that the commissioners know that they're really our way to maintain balance in favor, not in favor of anybody, but just help the community as well. So I hope the commissioners can understand that that's their role and that they can have influence over RMMA as well and how it should help our community, because everyone's part of the community and this is a taxpayer funded airport. So for fuel transition concerns, I just wanted to bring up that FAA reauthorization bill in 2024 specifically states that unleaded fuel can be prohibited from being sold as soon as a replacement for 100 LL is offered. So that is specifically in the FAA reauthorization bill. It's very explicit. It's in there. I've emailed it to everybody. So I want the airport to be very cognizant of the fuel that's chosen by I want the commissioners to be very cognizant of the fuel that gets selected by the airport, because I'm not sure if all of the fuel options would allow the prohibit of leaded fuel to be stopped being sold by the airport. So I want that, I'd love for the commissioners to independently look at if these fuels are chosen, are we legally obligated to continue selling unleaded fuel? Because the community would like to stop selling unleaded or leaded fuel as soon as possible, obviously. And if the fuel choice allows leaded fuel to be stopped being sold by the airport sooner, that is something the community would really like the commissioners to evaluate. And then in terms of the VNAP, I know Commissioner Zenzinger was part of HB 241235. I've gotten multiple people messaging that this is from the airport that this is balanced. It is not balanced. This is status quo. If you look at the numbers in the VNAP, during the spring, summer, and fall, this is going to be constant noise, even if it's followed exactly. These numbers are what they fly now, near their maxes. So please evaluate these numbers independently and make a decision for yourself if this VNAP is acceptable.
Thank you, Mr. Farbman, for your comments. We appreciate it. Anyone else in the hearing room or online joining us this morning who'd like to address the board during this round of public comment? All right. With that, we will close this portion of public comment and we'll continue with our agenda as soon as I can find my script. Bear with me. All right, next we have our minutes. We have the approval of the minutes that are dated February 4th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve the February 4th minutes?
Move for the approval of the minutes from February 4th, 2025. Second.
Ms. Blumquist, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr,
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger,
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper.
Yes, and that motion passes. Next, we have 5 items on the consent agenda. Commissioners, would either of you like to take an item off of consent? I do understand that Commissioner Zenzinger would like to make a comment as well. Or is it the next,
It's
it's the next one?
yeah.
Okay. Anyone want to pull anything off?
No, thank you.
Okay, great. Then may I have a motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.5?
I move for the passage of the approval of consent agenda items 6.1 through 6.5.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Blumquist, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr,
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger,
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper.
Yes, and that motion passes. Next is our regular agenda. We have no agenda items on the regular agenda this morning. We'll move next to the hearing consent portion of our meeting, and this is the consent agenda item that Commissioner Zenzinger would like to make a comment on. First, I'd like to ask Ms. Blumquist to please read hearing consent agenda items 9.1 into the record, and then I will turn to Commissioner Zenzinger, and then we'll ask if anyone wants to take this item off of the agenda today.
All right, item 9.1, resolution CC 25-040, case number 24-128677RZ, rezoning, continued from January 20th, 2025. Owner applicant Sandra J. Dougherty, location 5100 Eldridge Street, Golden, approximate area 0.6 acres. Purpose to rezone from agricultural 2A2 to residential 1 R1. Case manager Sarah Coles.
Great, thank you so much. And Commissioner Zenzinger.
Yes, thank you so much. I just wanted to note for the record that when the application was made, there was still a Fairmount Fire Protection District. And since that time, they have had a ballot measure where the Fairmount Fire Protection District has merged with the Arvada Fire Protection District, and they have, as of January 1st, assumed the name of the Arvada Fire Protection District. I did check with staff, and the Arvada Fire Protection District was fully aware of the application, and they had no problems, but just wanted to note that name change, which occurred while the application was in process.
Great, thanks so much for your comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to remove this item from the consent agenda? Ms. Zendejas, is there anyone joining us virtually who would like to remove it?
No one online.
Great, thank you. And commissioners, would either of you like to pull this item off of the agenda?
No, thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda item 9.1?
Move for the approval of hearing consent agenda item 9.1.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Blumquist, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr,
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger,
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper.
Yes, and that motion passes. Next, we'll move to the regular hearing, the hearing regular portion of our meeting, and we have no items on the hearing regular agenda this morning. Our next on our agenda is the second round of public comment. Is there anyone in the hearing room or joining us online this morning who has not had an opportunity to comment who would like to do so at this time? Ms. Zendejas, has anyone joined us for public comment online?
No one online.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Next up, we have reports, and we'll start first with Commissioner Zenzinger.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I have 4 things to report out. First off, I did attend my very first Head Start Policy Council meeting. That meeting took place yesterday. I also participated in an orientation regarding the Policy Council, and I have some big news. They are changing the name of the council. So last night, the council voted to rename it the Parent and Community Advisory Board. So from here on out, that will be the name of the Head Start Policy Council. We also had a very rigorous discussion about the Colorado Family Support Assessment process and data that Head Start has implemented, which was fully informed by parent and family participation. And then lastly, we did have a pretty pretty robust discussion about whether or not we should move the current 5-day, 6-hour schedule to a 4-day, 8-hour schedule. No decisions have been made. They're just in the process of gathering opinions, thoughts, and feedback from their parents and community members on that decision. In addition, I wanted to report out that I did attend the Wheat Ridge Chamber of Commerce meeting. It was my first time attending that, and it was very delightful. Met a lot of great people, and it was their first meeting of the year, so it was perfect timing because they did an overview of the history of the chamber and the services that they have to offer. And so I would just recommend highly that everyone go to their website, in the Wheat Ridge Chamber's website, in order to view their calendar. They have a new calendar feature where you can keep up to date with all of their activities. And then two more things. I did attend a Jefferson Center orientation, and I just wanted to give my thanks to the executive director, Kiara Kunzler, and her staff for making the transition onto that board so pleasurable. And then lastly, I had the honor of attending a grand opening for the Red, White, and Blue, which is a new thrift store that opened up in northern Jefferson County. They are a national organization, and their founder was a veteran. So they have a veteran nonprofit that they work with in order to take donations, and they recycle a really high number of their items versus going into the landfill. So just wanted to bring that to your attention and say that it was a great event.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Zenzinger, for those reports. Commissioner Kerr.
Great, thank you. It was great catching up with folks up in Evergreen at their chamber breakfast. Last week had a meeting with some other folks around Mountain Rail and moving forward with locating a station here in Jefferson County in Arvada that will help connect us by rail from Denver all the way up to Craig and back. Also had a meeting with the Colorado Opioid Abatement Council. Very interesting conversation there as we're a couple of years into it, as you well know, Commissioner Dahlkemper. The conversation, the healthy tension between this is all based on quite a bit of money through lawsuits that state attorney generals have led, and our own Attorney General Phil Weiser leading it here in Colorado, and the healthy tension between as the local, the regional councils and the statewide council look at do we spend more of this money up front to abate as quickly as possible, or do we try to make sure that we are saving some of the money down the road? This is the payments will be over a total of 18 years, and so just a healthy conversation of that, whether investing more heavier up front or making sure that there's more in the long run, knowing that our community has been highly impacted by opioids over the last few decades. So interesting conversation. And like I said, healthy tension, good arguments on both sides. Friday is winter bike to work day. Looks like the weather's going to cooperate for underlining the word winter in that. And just a reminder, Monday, the county will not be open. And just want to let some folks know who have been coming in on a regular basis the last few weeks that we will not be having this hearing next Tuesday morning. So just make sure you know that we will not be here next Tuesday morning for these hearings. Also, and I need to get a little more information on this as I was looking at my calendar, but we have a Japanese delegation coming to to Jeffco that I think we get to meet tomorrow. So that's it from me.
Thanks so much, Commissioner Kern. I believe that's related to taking a look and having conversations around human services and specifically our youngest members of our community and how best to serve them and their families. So looking forward to that conversation. A couple of updates to share with you. First, I wanted to circle back to the issue of wildfire mitigation. We are so grateful to our Jefferson County voters who approved Measure 1A, which allows the county to tap surplus dollars over an artificial Tabor cap and reinvest those in two areas, including transportation infrastructure and safety. And under safety is the issue of wildfire mitigation. One of the things the board is working on with staff is how those dollars are allocated, the makeup of a citizens advisory committee, just putting that out for our community. If you're interested in learning more about that, that effort is underway as well. And so we appreciate when community members come forward with ideas because it's particularly timely in light of the work that we have ahead of us related to 1A dollars and these various funds that voters have approved for us to allocate dollars to, especially wildfire mitigation, public safety, and infrastructure, and more. In addition, I wanted to talk more about Alameda Connects. Had a great conversation with the mayor, community members, business leaders who attended last week's meeting and talked about the potential impact of the federal funding freeze on Jefferson County, as well as the City of Lakewood Services. Mayor Wendy Strom touched upon that issue, and then I talked more about how closely we're watching those decisions in DC because they could have a serious impact on wildfire resiliency, early childhood education, food insecurity, highway safety, crime victim assistance, preventative health services, and much more. Core services provided in part by the county with our partners as we move forward. And just to be clear, in 2023, Jefferson County received $105 million in federal funding. That affects 130 county-wide services and programs in those areas that I mentioned a moment ago, plus another $110 million in federal assistance, and that's allocated through the federal government, through human services, to our community. And as we know, the issues in the courts right now. In fact, even just last Tuesday, we heard from our open space team that there was a $260,000 Bureau of Land Management wildfire mitigation grant that our team plans to apply for, but then they went back to the website and it was gone from the website. We hope that it will be back on the website so we can apply for it because it's important in terms of community safety and forest health as well. We also want to thank our partners like Congresswoman Pedersen and her team. They were also at Alameda Connects talking about the impact and the work that they're doing and the leadership that they're demonstrating, the entire team with our Congresswoman in terms of ensuring that these cuts don't have a negative, this potential federal freeze doesn't have a negative impact on our community. But we're prepared, we're watching it closely, and we're being proactive about it. I also wanted to mention that the Jeffco Wildfire Commission, while we're talking about wildfire, meets this Thursday to set strategic goals for the next couple of years, and those goals will come to the Board of County Commissioners for their review and approval. And then just touching on the opioid epidemic for a moment, the Gateway to the Rockies Opioid Council represents 3 counties, Clear Creek, Gilpin, and Jefferson County, and we have received funding from the opioid settlement dollars to address opioid prevention, treatment, and recovery services. The the general funding opportunity window opened on February 1st, and it will close on March 31st. So we're inviting organizations to submit proposals to help mitigate the opioid epidemic in our communities, including everything from prevention, treatment, recovery initiatives, planning and coordination efforts, and more. And I want to thank, as the chair of the Gateway to the Rockies Opioid Council, I really want to thank members of our Opioid Council for their incredibly hard work to prioritize these key areas. For more, you can go to our website at Gateway to the Rockies Opioid Council, it's a long URL, .org, or contact Dr. Chelsea Shore at cshore@jeffco.us. Next, I'll go to our county manager, Joe Kirby, for any updates.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just two reminders regarding upcoming meetings. We do have an Airport Advisory Board meeting scheduled for tomorrow night from 5 to 6 p.m. At the airport, and that's the monthly meeting for the Airport Advisory Board. In addition to that, we have a meeting on Thursday at 9 a.m., and that's the meeting for our elected official personnel board group. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Kirby. County Attorney Kim Sorrells.
No updates today. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We will adjourn our hearing. Thanks again to everyone who made the time to be here on this very cold Tuesday morning and for sharing your comments with us, both in person and online. And thanks to our Jeffco team here as well. We will adjourn and we will resume upstairs at, let's say, 9:50. Thank you so much.
Yes.